What is going on, guys? This is Jeff here with the Live Sports Talk, and I am here with Andy Kent, the senior writer for Dolphins.com. Andy, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. So there's been a lot of talk about the release of Chad Johnson this offseason. Do you think that releasing him was the right move, and how do you think that this will affect Miami's offense this season?
Well, it was obviously a tough decision for Coach Philbin to make, and I do think it was his decision to do that. And anybody who watched the first episode of Hard Knocks isn't surprised that it came about. So I think in the end, it was the right move. Philbin's a rookie head coach. He's trying to get everybody on the same page. He needs to get this team ready for the first game, and I think he made it clear to Chad early on this is the way he wanted things done. And between the press conference and a few other things, and he wasn't really grasping the offense that great. And then, of course, the arrest, I think, was just kind of the last straw. So, fortunately, it takes a veteran receiver away from the offense, someone that a lot of the young guys could look up to and learn from. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to totally impact the offense because they got a good set of receivers back there, a lot of talent to choose from.
If you watched ESPN, Philbin did get a lot of heat from the release of Chad Johnson on Hard Knocks and how he did it and stuff like that. How do you think he's been doing so far overall as a head coach, and do you think he's going to effectively coach the Dolphins this season?
Yeah, he's learning as he goes as well. I mean, just like any rookie head coach, rookie player, he's learning on the go and as it happens. And I think that one thing that he's done is he stayed consistent with his message and the way he says he's going to do things and the way he wants things done since first meeting with the team back on April 10th, at least meeting some of the veterans before the draft. So, like any coach, especially when you got returning veteran players, and in the Dolphins' case, some of these guys playing for their fourth head coach in a short amount of time, it's going to take an adjustment period. But I think he's going to do an effective job. He's got a lot of credence coming from Green Bay, a winning organization, and they've seen his offense and his style work for the Packers. So, as the season goes along and they're all working well together and hopefully avoid too many injuries and distractions, I think he'll be fine.
Along with signing Philbin this offseason and then dropping Chad Johnson, another big move the Dolphins made was Monday they announced that rookie quarterback Ryan Tannehill will start this season. What do you think about that?
I think it was the right move. It drew a lot of attention. It's a historic move because he is the first rookie quarterback ever, and that includes Hall of Famers Bob Creasy and Dan Marino to be tabbed as the starter for the regular season opener. So, it's definitely going to be a lot of pressure on the kid. But once David Garrard went down with a knee injury, that changed the whole dynamic of the competition. And, Matt Moore did a great job last year for this team. After Chad Henne went down, he did go 6-3 down the stretch, and he won the locker room over. But he had an opportunity to really run away with the competition after Garrard went down, and he didn't. I don't think he did enough to separate himself. On the flip side, Tannehill, he knew this offense before he even got here because he played in it last year and the last few years in Texas A&M under Mike Sherman. So he's familiar with the offense. He's familiar with the offensive coordinator, and he throws a heck of a ball. He commands the huddle. A lot of the veterans I've talked to said that they don't consider him a rookie. He doesn't act like one. He doesn't carry himself like one. So, you need to know if this is your future quarterback, the guy that could finally succeed. Dan Marino, they've gave 16 other quarterbacks a try. So you hope that 17 is the lucky number.
Yeah, he is the 17th quarterback to start since Dan Marino. Also, how do you think the Dolphins are going to manage their running game this year with Reggie Bush and Daniel Thomas? How are they going to split that up, or is Bush their guy, or what's going on there?
Well, Bush wants to be their guy. Again, all those who watched Hard Knocks the other night, his plan or his goal is to lead the league in rushing, and he wants to be a featured back. And last year he did show, he quieted a lot of the doubters on whether he could handle that heavy of a load and he could handle running in between the tackles. But the way Philbin and Sherman are putting this offense together, the up-tempo style, the reliance more on the passing game than the running game, I think you're going to see Reggie, kind of be a hybrid primary back and a receiving threat out of the backfield. They've lined him up as a receiver a few times, so he could lead the league in all-purpose yards, and then they could use Daniel Thomas for the tough inside yards in the middle of the field. And as they get closer to the goal line, Javorsky Lane has emerged as this bowling ball of a fullback who seems to be automatic down there. So I could see him getting the calls get down low, when you're inside the 5-yard line or so.
And finally, I just wanted to get your prediction for the Dolphins this season. How do you think they're going to turn out?
They're going to have an up-and-down season, I think. One thing I've learned on this job, this is my 6th season with the Dolphins, and been in this business over 2 decades, and I've learned that predictions really don't mean anything, as a lot of us will see. My year 1 with the Dolphins was 1-15 in 2007, and I'm hard-pressed to find anybody who would have predicted that the next year they were going to go 11-5 and win the division. So, as far as the number of wins, I don't know if I'm going to give you that, but I think they're going to be good. They're going to be competitive. The rest of the AFC East, other than the Patriots, are look kind of in shambles a little bit, so they could contend for second place in the AFC East. And you get a couple of breaks, no injuries. Keep the turnovers down, and have a couple lucky bounces, and they could come out and contend for a playoff spot near the end of the season.
All right, Andy. Well, it's been a pleasure having you, and I wanted to thank you for being here.
Oh, anytime, Jeff. Long season ahead of us, but let me know if you want me to come back on. I'll be glad to kind of re-look at my prediction there about the halfway through the season.
I'd love to have you back mid-season and talk more about the Dolphins. So thanks again for being on.